We've been in the studio for quite some time, but we've been arguing because when things happen sometimes, you find yourself being stuck at a point of interest, and some other times you want to, because the persons involved are close to you, you want to just go all guns a-blazing, but it may just not be the right way to go about it. I'm saying this because in the last, technically 1 month, or let's say 6 weeks, 3 people close to me have had serious encounters with sometimes armed men. In fact, all 3 encounters really armed. The first was a friend's car that was snatched at gunpoint around Seaman, and then my own biological sister at gunpoint was robbed in a vehicle in Oka around Ekoka area. They took, thankfully she wasn't pushed out of a moving vehicle. They took everything she had on her, stopped the vehicle, and let her come down in peace. We are grateful to God. No scratches. And then a friend, someone I had just met, a lady, and we bonded. And the other day she sent me a message and said, I just recovered my line and I got to reach out to someone to get me your contact. Sent me pictures. She was cut up in some parts of her body with a machete. According to her, she entered a vehicle around Opaireka going to Nkwele. And along the way, the vehicle derailed, took them into a bush, took everything they had on them, and even assaulted them to the point of beating her and even using the machete to, cut her some parts of her body. And when we talk about insecurity, it's happening in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world. But when things like this happen, it is a reminder that we need to tighten our seatbelts. By us, I am referring to the security officials. I am referring to Agune Chemba. I am referring to the police. At every point in time, every security stakeholder in Anambra State. This is like an SOS. I was here yesterday, and Tony, it was you that got the call of a vehicle that was taken from where it was parked, right? And this is I don't know. I don't know if it's because election is approaching, like Akpabio alleged yesterday. Because yesterday Akpabio said insecurity is peaking because election is near. I don't know how to define this resurgence. But one thing I do know is that we need to have all hands on deck. If we actually ease off pressure a little, we need to put in more pressure. We need to secure every parameter of the state. People want to move around the state, doing businesses, knowing that they can actually go and come back without some persons being afraid that some persons, operating one chance vehicles. They have resurfaced, they have increased in Anambra State, and we really need to kick them out. We need to apprehend them. We need to have them, thrown behind bars for all the madness and all the evil they unleash on unsuspecting citizens. Also, yesterday was the Chibok Girls Remembrance Day. It was a day going down memory lane of how it eventually all transpired and everything that happened when those girls were taken. Report has it that some of them have still not returned. We're grateful for the ones that returned, and we're hoping that the government sustains the pressure to have the remaining girls return. Also, a Senate president yesterday trended for, I'd say, indirectly confirming the same tweet that INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amkrito, denied making, the one he talked about, I think we will succeed or something like that. Or I can't remember the exact words.
Victory is sure.
Victory is sure, huh? And Akpabio in that video was saying, he didn't say whether victory is sure for APC or for PDP. All he said is that victory is sure. And he said it even when he was just a lecturer. We get to play you that audio as the show progresses today. Also yesterday, Gemili South local government area trended because a list for the deputy mayor's 20 SAs made it to the internet. And the average Nigerian is asking 20 special advisors for a deputy mayor. Quite interesting times we live in, especially at a time we're looking at cutting down the cost of governance. But we have other matters on our desk today. ADC went on with their convention. We keep you updated, and of course, the Senate President Akpabio has blamed insecurity as it is at the moment on the election, which is just by the corner. We'll let you in on all of that and even more. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Chisom. I'm Tony, and to many other persons who are following us this very morning. Of course, a wonderful morning for us to look at developments in the polity. You have highlighted a couple of them, and you mentioned the, should I call that thievery or robbery we're having now, getting back to different parts of Anambra State and the cause for concern. That means that we have to, up our surveillance, whatever we were doing right before. If anything had dropped, we have to get back to ensure that surveillance increases. Let me even also use this opportunity to talk about what still happens at Opiweka. At the point we had this reduction in the kind of molestation, robbery being recorded at Opiweka. But I must tell you that on Sundays, some of these very miscreants, they also go there to, still do their art. In fact, I have somebody close to me who was, that should be about a month ago, just one Sunday, she was just going to a club here and decided to go through Opiweka. And when she got there, just to cross the main road, and some boys from nowhere accosted her, asking her where she was going. And she was telling them, it was none of your business where I was going. Just allow me to go where I was going. And before you know it, they were circling around her, trying to take her phone from her. Now, do you know that in that very process, they were able to take some money out from her bag without her knowing? So we still have those guys who are there. So, SASA, whatever they are doing, they have to up the ante, ensure that these guys are still, rid of this very, of our environment, so that people will be able to have this very safe or, sense of safety going about their normal businesses. Then you talked about the deputy mayor or deputy chairman of local government who appointed 20 SAs. I was just wondering, what was he thinking about? What would they be advising him on, or what would they be assisting him on? And secondly, where is he going to get the money he's going to use to pay these very people? Is he going to get the money from allocation to local government or from his personal money? Because if what we saw yesterday is anything to go by, that he's going to pay each of them 100,000 naira, so 20 of them, how much it's going to cost in a month. where is he going to get that very money to pay them? So I don't know why we are so much interested in things that do not count when it comes to delivering on governance. So initially when I saw it, I thought it was just a joke until I saw the memo in response, a memo following that. So for the deputy chairman, I think he has to call his Senate to a meeting and ask relevant questions of what value would these people bring to governance at the local government level. And then on the final note, there may be a clash between the government of Anambra State and the Chief Augustine Ndigwe. The person that calls himself Ezos III, whom government of Anambra State has told to stop parading himself as the Igwe of Oka. We know that Anambra State government set up a committee of inquiry, to look into the controversy surrounding the Oka traditional stool. At the end of the day, that very panel sat, called for memoranda. At the end of the day, the panel made some recommendations, and one of those recommendations is that the authentic traditional law of Oka is Igwe Gibson Wosu. And Anambra State government last week issued a white paper. In fact, the government also called the PG of Oka to come to the government house for a discussion where they handed them the title of the white paper. And then government said any other person outside of Big Gibson Wosu is not the traditional ruler of Oka. But what we saw on Monday was that the chief of Austin Ndigwe, he went on parade in Oka. He paraded himself in Oka for the entire Oka to see him as the king. And from what we gathered, he went around with some security men, showing himself to the people that he is the king. So in that very case, people are saying that he has dared the government of Anambra State. So we're not going to wait to see how government of Anambra State react to this very development as regards to the traditional stool of Oka. So by the time the program progresses, we'll talk about other things in the news.
All right, then Dr. Tony Lisenbeck is here with the analysis desk to make sense of all of this development. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Chisom Chined. Good morning, Franklin. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha. Good morning, Ndi Osumuhu. Good morning, Ndi Afia Nine, Ndi Oloyibo, especially the teachers and those who serve in different ministries, parastatals, not those that come to work by 11 a.m. and maybe leave around 2. Not the kind of work or workforce we are aiming. Just like we have said many times that there's need for cameras to be in every public office. For monitoring, I've always advocated for monitoring. I'm a strong advocate of monitoring performance. And also the artisans and all worker. Many of them, we appreciate them. Then our senior citizens, our pensioners. It's unfortunate that many of you don't have homes in this country, but your colleagues in some other countries, they have their homes where they are well taken care of. But that's why we are ensuring that the extended family system we have built over the years can as well support it, but government can as well do more than what is presently being done. And we also acknowledge religious leaders, not those that are materialistic, those that would always, from time to time, extort from people, because there is a religious extortion as well as we have social extortion, security extortion. There's also religious extortion. Believe it. Those who always give fake prophecies and monetize their prophecies, monetize and commercialize their ministry. We are not talking about those people. We are talking about those who are really giving freely, because freely they receive. We also acknowledge our traditional rulers, not those who are land grabbers, those who are always agent provocateurs. They try to use the influence they have got to manipulate things. And he can never be Urundinze. I don't subscribe to that idiocy. I don't subscribe to that tonnage. Perhaps, by the way, we welcome everybody. And also the transporters, those who render essential services, and security agents, those who are doing good work, not those who are collecting tolls at different roads. You are talking about the, what do you call this resurgence of, you call it free? call it robbery. That is criminality. It's a real problem these days. They have resorted to the subtle way of taking from people. Before now, it used to be having enclave or having a bunk. Kidnap people. Kidnapping seems to have been fought randomly and at the same time wholesomely in Anambra State. And they have devised a new mean. When you park your car, they will use either toy gun, machine gun, and take your car while they will just stop you. And one thing about people, why these things are happening, nobody will even pay attention. Everybody will prevent or even pay less attention. That's what we call this laissez-faire attitude. But the security operatives, of course, they have to tighten this loose knot, because the knot seems to have been slacked a bit. They must tighten up that knot. And everyone, we welcome you and we thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His grace, for all He has been doing for us. Today is 15th of April. Another day. Of course, they half day of the month. The month of April is 30. And today marks the half of the month, being beautiful Wednesday. You're welcome. The miracle of waking up is the most we always see on daily basis. Waking up is a miracle. We thank God for waking up. Many people slept last night, but they couldn't wake up. And we are here again to sing praises. We are in the sanctuary of our Most High to profess the truth. Whenever you see us, you can call us professors of truth. Not professor in practice, professors of truth. You are welcome, wherever you are.
All right, then let's go tell you what the front pages of the papers say. And from there, we proceed to the conversation proper. On our desk this morning, we have the Vanguard, Punch, Daily Sun, and the Guardian newspapers. On the Vanguard, banner headline is 2027. ADC desk court INEC holds convention. A lot of riders there. Rather, we just mention a few. PDP crisis, Supreme Court okays speedy hearing of appeal by Tiraki-led faction on page 9. And all of that story on ADC you'd find on page 5. Daily petrol imports rise 96.6% to 5.9 million liters. That's from NMDPRA on page 19. Why Kwara is the best place to give birth, raise a child in Nigeria today on page 23.
The headline is so sweet.
Very, very. Gili airstrike, no innocent victims. Defense Minister, page 41. This is the point where we say Anekunke Kuli Kuozo.
The thing is that the government have been trying, they've been trying to do everything possible to defend
to
that
justify.
We are not saying that military should not go ahead to annihilate terrorists or whatever, but we're saying precision matters, good intelligence. In as much as they have told us that that area is a corridor for terrorist activities, yes, we agree. But because it's a terrorist activity, you want to now go to strike, you don't consider civilian collateral damage. Because had it been, when it comes to airstrike, sometimes people who are in the security sector, they will tell you that if you're talking about 2 lives of civilians, compared to when you have about 20 or thereabout, it's a whole lot. So for me, I think what government should be doing is to investigate and find out what actually happened, other than everybody trying to defend and justify what happened at Gili, because it's a corridor for terrorism. And so anybody who went there, whether you went there by accident or whether you went there because you have not with terrorists, then you're on your own. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And the final headline here: UN's FAO chief speaks at Vanguard economic discourse in agri sector on page 19.
Okay, so we go over to Daily Sun newspaper. The story beside the nameplate says NCAA certifies Akani Ibiam International Airport in Enugu. The story is on page 25. So with this, we're hoping that we begin to see international flights flying from Akani Ibiam International Airport in Enugu. Another headline here says IMF downgrades Nigeria's growth to 4.1%, cites inflation, spiking fertilizer prices, global risk, and it has a writer that says 2027 rebound hinged on policy discipline. The big story says insecurity, Akpabio fingers opposition That story can be found on page 6 of Daily Sun. It has a rider that says expresses optimism situation, or rather, expresses optimism situation will end after 2027 polls. Of course, he was at the unveiling of the 16-story national headquarters of the NRS. That was where he made this very statement. Where he also even took a dig at the governor of Anambra State. Talking about how a governor, or rather how somebody who was in the party that gave him about 6 million votes would abandon 6 million votes, go to another party, thinking that he's going to make any headway. Plenty of things he said yesterday. Then other headlines we have on the front page of the Sun. 2027, Nigeria will not coronate Kabiyesi in Aso Rock, ADC. That story can be found on pages 6, 8, and 26. It has a rider. PDP ADC Supreme Court okays PD hearing. Unijo student abduction. Igbo youths demand FG's intervention on page 29. US-Iran war triggers jet fuel crisis. Pushes local airfares to 135,000 naira from 92,000 naira on page 25. INEC chairman won't get away with illegalities. Atiku. The story is on page 6, and it has a rider that says Nigeria collapsing, says Obi. These are the headlines on the front page of Daily Sun.
All right, then from the Daily Sun newspaper, let's tell you what the Punch says. Right. The Punch says, banner headline here, ADC convention, Mark Atiku Aregbesola tackle Tinubu on hardship, insecurity. On page 2, Obi Amechi decry rising poverty, ADC chiefs predict tough 2027 for Tinubu. Supreme Court to hear ADC leaders appeal against Seneca April 22nd. ADC factional leader mocks Mark others over convention. All on page 2. Coup probe, detained soldiers' wives demand justice. On page 3, what's really going on with that probe? Akpabio links terror attacks to plot against Tinubu on page 7. Chibok girls remembered in emotion-laden theatre exhibition on page 34. FG spent 75 billion naira on arms amid worsening insecurity on page 31. Nigeria's debt hits 159.28 trillion naira on fresh loans on page 35. Fact deductions got 41% of 84 trillion naira revenue, page 35. Security beefed up at JAMB exam centers. That's according to the police on page 31. And speaking about the police, it was just the day before yesterday, Frank, we woke up to hear this. We're talking about morality among the police, stopping the whole immorality. And just yesterday, we had at least a 15 to 20 minutes log jam at the 3-3 police station. Guess what was happening?
The same old story.
Same old story. They were giving numbers to tricycle drivers. Zero coordination. Frank, if you've ever been to any, say Oka now, there are some parts of Oka you get to, you see military checkpoints, right? Approaching it, every mad motorist becomes sane.
Yes.
But when it's a police checkpoint, everybody raves mad.
Yep, because the police has reduced itself to an inconsequential security agency.
Very shameless.
When we say this and that, sometimes why people easily clash with the police is because police has reduced itself to rag, where people no longer have regard for the police. Because if you see a policeman who stands on the road and he's dragging 20 naira with you, to the point that even if you warrant for him to lie down on the road for you to cross,
and they give change.
He would do that because he want that very money from you. The thing is this: if they want to sanitize the police, they know what to do. It's not all about this internal memo that IGPs normally do issue. We are going to uphold professionalism. We are going to do this. All those things will amount to nothing. I'm not saying that the police is just lax in doing nothing. Of course, we know that there are a number of them who have been shipped out because of bad behavior. In Edo State 2 days ago, about 5 of them were shipped out because they are working with civilians to extort people using POS. Yes, we know that police is doing something, but the thing is, why it continues to happen is because there are many people who do that and go scot-free. Mm-hmm. So if we're able to have a system that recognizes no sacred cow, where all animals are equal, where the cobweb catches every fly, whether a bird or a small fly, that's the only way they can have a sense system. That's the only way they can rein on this madness we do see among policemen. So for me, anytime I hear IGP saying that they are going to do this, they're going to ensure professionalism, I just see it as the old story. Until when we are ready, we are going to know that we are ready.
All right, then, suspected cultists beat Lagos monarch son to death on pages 4 and 5. And finally, on the front page of the Punch, Olubadan, Ajimobi's widow denied plot to impeach Makinde on page 34.
Okay, so we'll go back to the Ghanaian newspaper, and the biggest story there is on page 6. It says ADC on brink of 2027 exclusion as court battles. Deadline drawn near. If you read this very story, quite interesting one, because the story captures different side of what lies ahead of ADC, whether they're going to make it for 2027 election or not, given the fact that there is a timeline within which they have to take all their political activities. Gili airstrike targeted terrorist supply routes, not civilians, says MG. The story is on page 3. Tinubu's reforms pushed Nigeria's revenue to 3.6 trillion naira monthly, says NROS polls. Adedeji, the story is on page 3. He made that statement during the unveiling of that very corporate headquarters yesterday in Abuja. It's a 16-story building. JAMB police dismiss safety concerns as 2.2 million candidates set for UTME. That story is on page 4. I think UTME begins on April 16 or thereabout, and it's going to last for some time, because these days it's not get done on one day. It's done in segmentation because of availability of CBT centers. This story says El Rufai gets 200 million naira bail as court imposes gag order in alleged graft trial. The story is on page 30. He was told not to speak to the media as one of the conditions for his bail application. Oyo lawmakers at Jimobi identify impeachment plot against Makinde. The story is on page 5. So we have to retake this. Oyo lawmakers at Jimobi deny impeachment plot against Makinde. It was former governor of the state, Ayodele Fayose, who raised the alarm that there was a plot to impeach him. But even the governor and lawmakers are saying there's nothing like that. 2027 option narrows for electorate as PDP, LP, NMPP crisis linger. The story is on page 6. Rising LPG prices, Middle East crisis threaten Nigeria's cooking gas market. That story is on page 15. IMF downgrades Nigeria's GDP outlook, warns of rising risk. That story is on page 15 of Guardian newspaper. And the last story we have on the front page says SDP, CHRCED worry as Ababio claims rising insecurity politically driven. That story can be found on page 3 of Guardian newspaper.
All right, then, just to let you know, we're live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. Drop your comment right under the video of the show, and don't forget to like, share, and follow the page. And so we're going to start from Anambra State, Tony Becky. The 20 essays that a deputy mayor is said to use and have all by himself. What do you make of that?
Well, many of us rose to something that is very much common in Nigerian polity. Why I say common is because we've seen people in position of authority who have done something similar to that. But I'm going to let you know those who have done what the young man may have done. And mind you, when we are talking about the need for state government to have oversight on local authorities, many of you said no. You want them to be independent, you want them to be autonomous, you want them to be everything administrative-wise, financial-wise, and structurally. You want them to be independent. And I listen to so many commentators calling on state government to do something to intervene. Are they no more independent? Are they no more independent? You can't be hypocritical when we are saying there is need for state government to have oversight. We may have seen things like this, and that's why we are saying the oversight is not about the state governor trying to manipulate them or trying to control them or trying to put them in his own kitty. The state assembly, because the assembly represents all of us. It's more like us having oversight on them, no matter how we like the assembly or not. But some of you kicked against it. But now we saw what happened, and it is just things to expect. Had it been, there is no single oversight on these people. But just like I said earlier on, this is not the first time we have seen things like this. We've seen somebody like Nyesom Wike. I remember when he was the governor of Rivers State, he made a staggering appointment. He appointed over 200,000 SA, special assistants. And that was sometime around 13th of October 2022, I think prior to 2023 presidential election. Of course, we know why he did that. He strategically positioned these very people for them to work during the election, for them to help him out in areas or in capacities he had wished. Over 200,000 SAs. In fact, he started with 50,000. From 50,000, he upgraded. And before you know it, he got to that very staggering amount. But the point remains that he achieved whatever he wanted to achieve. That's why he was able to deliver the president to the party he wanted the president to win on. Apart from Nyesom Wike, we have also seen other people who have done that. Of course, there are so many of them who have done what this young man has done. I'm not in any way supporting what the young man has done. For me, it is outrageous. It is unspeakable. It is something that we cannot, for one reason or the other, say it is normal. It is not normal. Even if the money is going to pay them will come from his private pocket, but what message are you sending to the public? During the time of Nyesom Wike, he said that he was empowering these people. He defined his own as stomach infrastructure, but we know very well it was not a case of stomach infrastructure. It was a case of positioning these people for them to work for him during an election. That's exactly what happened in his own case. But in any case, just like I've always said, these things keep happening by those who are supposed to deliver the dividends of democracy. And look at it from this angle: deputy mayor, not even the mayor. Not even the mayor. So what it means that if he becomes the mayor, 20 may be just a small number.
Totally. Another thing we need to dig deep is to find out if that deputy mayor has any other political agenda. Because maybe he might appoint these very people and give them the tag of age, whereas he's just trying to set up structure for political intention. I'll give you an instance. You mentioned Nyesom Wike. We know what he used that to do. It was for election papers in the last election. Now, I will also mention some local government chairman who had told this very line of appointing retinue of aides, which one might think that they are needless. Take, for instance, we know Chijoki Hunwo of Obia local government.
Of course, he did appoint over
100 to 130.
Yeah, of course, I know Chijoki.
And later, he even added about 100 aides. In fact, in total, he had about 200 aides in total.
Actual aides or people who are just put out there to be paid.
He called them aides, and they were all being paid.
They were all being paid.
Simple.
Then Darlington Orji, Ikwere local government here of River State, he appointed over 300 aides during his time. One of the largest appointments. Then when we had Evans BP in that same River State local government area, he appointed 119 aides. And these aides included advisors and assistants. So it's like Rivers is leading the chase. Then you go to Nasarawa State sometime where we had local government chairman in Nasarawa State who appointed about 68. And now we now come to Anambra. Somebody appointed 20 deputy chairman. I think it was last year too that we saw SUG president who also appointed a long list of aides to assist him in whatever.
Who pays them?
Now, but this is where I'm going to, because I asked the first question whether, if we check deeper to know whether this man has any political ambition, maybe he wants to use them as a structure. The second one is what you said. You said that there was a time people were making argument that local government system needs to be supervised by the state so that they will be able to check their excesses. But if you look at it deeply, you will ask a question like, on what moral ground should state supervise or oversight local government when they are not different from these people that they are going to supervise? Take, for instance, that was 2 days ago, the governor of Bauchi, Bala, Mohammed, he gifted not less than 114 cars to monarchs. On what ground was it appropriated? So, what difference do we have any difference from the from the profligacy we do see among local government executive, and then what we do see at the state level that might warrant that the state needs to oversight local government?
Well, you know very well that the state governor and possibly the assembly and then the local government are not same. Local government cannot make laws. I've said it many times. They cannot make laws that one can be prosecuted based on that law. Let's understand this. But the state can make laws. For the fact that the local government cannot make laws, and if you do not have an organ that makes law to oversight them, either through legislation, what it means that you have just coronated an absolute monarch. That's what it means. The states at that level, because we know that the state governors may have pocketed the assembly that has the powers to make laws, and for the fact that have been pocketed, they may not do anything. It's a different issue altogether compared to a system where they cannot make laws. They can only issue bylines, or what you call bylaws, regulations, through their legislative council. And these are regulations and bylaws. They are not laws. These are things that you cannot commit somebody to prison for violation. You cannot go to any court and commit anybody to prison for violating the bylaws or the regulations of local government. You cannot, because these are not in any way codified. They are not statutes. Having said that, that's why I say the need for the assembly, of course, is there in the constitution. It has not been overwritten. It has not been even wiped out. Even the Supreme Court judgment grants, or the judgment granted or financial autonomy to the local government, but it does not in any way invalidate the sections of the constitution, the provisions of the constitution that talks about the composition, the structure, and also the operations of the local government. It has not even in any way validated. It says that the state assembly can, from time to time, make laws. It is there in the constitution for their composition, and also every other thing that will make them to function very well. That is what the constitution says, and that has not been taken out by anybody. Even in fact, the Supreme Court judgment, I have argued that it restricts to just financial autonomy. Of course, we know the reason why Supreme Court did that, because the money meant for them, they are not in any way being given to the local government as expected. But let's come back to the issue in question. We are talking about the young man who made this appointment for no just cause. And you are asking, has he any political agenda? And I've asked, who is this Honorable Ifanye Anakoba? Because that's the person, he's the deputy mayor.
Anakugon. Of course, Anakoba. Anakugo.
Okay, Anakugo came in.
Already.
All right, because when you said it, I was actually looking, maybe, that's his name. And I know very well that he has a boss, Amaka Obi, the lady, who is also living. And I know very well that he is the one we are talking about. Some people say that this is something he has been doing. I recall very well during Christmas, he distributed about 50 kg bags of rice and cash to constituents in the Idemili South. This young man we are talking about, I'm also aware that he empowered over 200 women. And I'm also aware that this young man has been in this kind of, will you call it empowerment or stomach infrastructure? But the recent spotlights come from his announcement around April 14 of 20 new special assistants. They are all indigenous of Idemili South, and each is to receive a monthly salary of 100,000. And he said it's going to come from his personal pocket, not from the state resources. He said it's going to come from his personal pocket, that if he can empower over 200 women from his personal resources, distribute 50 kg bags of rice and cash to constituents in Idemili South during Christmas, and also facilitated some agro-allied businesses And we are also told that sometimes, in fact, he sees himself as the council boss. I heard from grapevine that sometimes he has this problem with the council boss because he goes all out in project inspection, road maintenance, market project, health initiatives. But we've said it this many times that they need to work together. But it depends on what you hear. There are people that are saying that each time he goes on road inspection and see how to monitor some works in that very local government, that he does that with the mayor, Amakobi. There are some that say that no, he does it alone. But from records, from what I can authoritatively say, both of them are not having problems. The times I've cited them, I've cited both of them together. But that notwithstanding, remember the 48 laws of power. You cannot outshine your boss.
So Tony, having said that, he's going to pay these people from his personal pocket. So, is there a problem with number he appointed?
And what does he do, please, with this personal pocket thing that we are talking about? Let's sincerely, critically look at this. What does he really do?
Well, if you ask what he does, there are those who were into business or are still in business
to pay 20 assistants.
The thing is, for him to have been doing it, you are talking about paying 20 assistants. We are telling you some of the things he has done over the years. He distributes cash gifts to people. And he said that these things are coming from his personal resources, and then he is not taking it from the government pocket or from government kitty.
If he has a good business running, 100,000 to 20 persons in a month is 2 million. Anybody who has a good business running, I believe will be able to do that. But where the issue is, let it not be that he said he's going to do it from his personal pocket, but the money is going to be taken from the purse of the people
invariably
through the indirect way.
And also, let's not forget that this is not an actual employment. And so for every time that we have political appointments, we recycle jobless young men and women who actually should get jobs, or better still be empowered to get skills to actually have something doing. But no, what do? They loiter around trees and offices in government offices, and at the end of the day, the person does not have a skill. The person does not have a job. If the administration goes, he does not have a job. Can we actually start looking at real job creation as against this hand-downs that are paid to loyalists?
For me, this guy may be coming out for a political position. Maybe he may have declared his interest. And the people he has commissioned as SAs, these are the people he is going to use. And nobody should tell me anything less than that. But the truth remains that it don't give government of Idemili South this kind of outlook. It makes no sense. Even if you want these people to work for you, it must not be in that capacity as SAs to deputy mayor. They can also be your domestic aides.
Let's go.
Employ them as their domestic aides, and they work for you, and you pay them. Don't bring government into this.
Let's go.
It makes no sense.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Special announcement. All traders and business owners affected by the ongoing demolition at Onitsha Main Market. An alternative is now available. West Africa Intercontinental Trade Center Limited, WETC, in partnership with the Anambra State Government, is building a modern commercial complex at Oze Nkwele Road Mechanic Village. Good news. All affected traders will receive free shops for 1 year, while the permanent shop clusters are being completed. To benefit from this opportunity, all affected traders and interested persons should visit the Onitsha Chamber of Commerce to obtain the expression of interest form. Location: opposite Shanahan University Gate, Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity Compound, GRA Onitsha. Investors who wish to build modern shops for sale to subscribers can also obtain the forms. Note: only 16 clusters remain, and each cluster contains 272 shops. Don't miss this opportunity to secure a shop in the WETC Modern Trade Complex today. For inquiries, call 0803 786 6974 or 0813 644 5336.
When you think of roofing, think of strength, When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okuno Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
And now the conversation shifting gears, let's take a look at some of the things that the Senate President Godswill Akpabio said yesterday, starting with the point where he blamed Mr. Peter Obi for some of the stance that he has taken, and to the point where he blamed opposition parties, where he took a swipe at Obi, blamed opposition parties, and also, would I say indirectly, concurred to whatever was Professor Joash Anqueto was accused of. Let's take a listen to some of these statements credited to him. And we are starting, and here we go.
Because the election is coming. As soon as the election is over, watch out. The first 2 weeks, you will not hear any single bomb blast. Because people are sponsoring it to distract you. They don't know what else to do. They say this man is too good in many areas. If the governors are attracted to him because he's taking very good care of the states. He came in with less than 18 governors. Today he has almost 32 governors under his fold, out of 36. So where do we belong? How do we election when you don't have the structure?
Okay, and right from there, we are going to proceed to the next video. Also credited to Godswill Akpabio. Let's take a listen to this one. And of course,
They realize that they've not been able to put their houses in order. Somebody will go and get up to 6 million votes in an election through a political party and yet abandon that political party and abandon the 6 million votes and start shopping for a new political party that he will have to go and start building up. I'm not talking about Suludu, I'm talking about somebody around his area. So, Mr. President, I want to assure you, and some people say that even now, that because they realize that they've not been able to put their houses in order.
okay, so this was at the point where Senate President Godswill Akpabio at the commissioning of the new NRS building yesterday took a swipe at Mr. Peter Obi, speaking about how he got over 6 million votes in the last election, but still left the political party that made that possible to go start afresh. Everybody knows the internal crisis that almost every opposition party has been submerged in. And then also, while making his statement, he, I dare say, indirectly also indicted Professor Joash Ampito. Take a listen.
And embedded everything in my heart. He was able to capture the essence of governance. He was able to justify the confidence that Nigerians repose in you and continue to repose in you. He was even able to capture the fact that Nigerians cannot do without you in 2027. And without saying a word, the executive chairman of NRS was able to say why there is total confusion in all other political parties across the country. And they will come to blame you. If you were not that good, if your vision was not very clear, from day one you said that's what do you call it? Fuel subsidy is gone on your first swearing in, and people carry their hands on their heads. I said, does this man know what he's talking? Entrenched corruption. That Nigeria was spending almost 90% to 93% of every revenue in fuel subsidy. You can't build something on nothing and expect it to stand. There was no money for infrastructure. Nigeria will go and budget 80 to 85% on debt servicing, remaining only 15%, and they expect miracle that government should come and build things like this. You have changed all that. So I sitting down there as Senate President and Chairman of the National Assembly, I cannot be more proud that yes, we contributed to what we are seeing here today. You are seeing insecurity today. It's even increasing because election is coming. As soon as election is over, watch out. The first 2 weeks, you will not hear any single bomb blast. Because people are sponsoring it to distract you. They don't know what else to do. They say this man is too good in many areas. If the governors are attracted to him because he's taking very good care of the states. He came in with less than 18 governors. Today he has almost 32 governors under his fold, out of 36. So where do we, when you don't have a structure? Political party today is stable in this country. Then they change and say, okay, let us attack the people going to do the election. And they brought out a tweet where they said, the chairman of INEC said, victory is sure. But he didn't say victory is sure for APC. He did not say victory is sure for PDP. He just said victory is sure. And the man said that it's manipulated. Nobody wants to hear. But for me, whether manipulated or not, he said victory is sure. He was not chairman of INEC. He was just a mere lecturer. Anybody can support anybody who wishes to. But when you are on a seat, you have to think of all the entire country and all the populace. And that's what you are doing.
Okay, so this is where I would cut it for this particular video, and that is because three things have come under attack from that particular statement. First was Akpabio insinuating that the insecurity is because of elections, and he said after the first 2 weeks of election, you watch out, there would be no bomb blasts. And then he took a swipe at the stability in political parties, which the ruling party has been accused, the instability in political parties, which the ruling party has been accused of being responsible for. And then he also, what I say indirectly is how you would see Tony, where he said whether Abito's statement was manipulated or not, he wasn't INEC chairman. But a person who has a known affiliation to any party, indicating partisanship, ordinarily should have no business with leading an electoral body. I'd need to know what you think about the things he said yesterday and the place of Ampito in all of these.
Well, Babio said quite a lot of things yesterday. And then if you ask me, he's just playing politics. That's the truth. But some of the things he said are not true. And then if you fact check some of them, you understand that he's just playing See, and we saw on the other hand, during the convention of ADC, it wasn't just convention. They took time to demarcate APC-led government. In fact, they said quite a lot of things. But this is the political period, the political era, and you expect things like this. But let's go straight to the statement credited to Godswill Akpabio. And the forces, where he talked about Amopiton, and he said that Amopiton made a comment where he said victory is sure, that he did not indicate whether victory is sure for APC or not. That for him, he didn't in any way align to anybody, but that's not true. If you go by that tweet, that tweet was something an APC loyalist made, talking about APC, and he made a reply, victory is sure. So the response was in tandem with the post made by an APC loyalist. By the time, probably, if Franklin can help us with the exact tweet and then the response, it will make sense. I'll allow him to do that. Why we also discuss other things, because the most important thing is that you don't just say victory is sure without linking it to something posted. There was a post. Akpabio did not tell us what the post was talking about, and when he said victory is sure for APC, or he didn't say for APC or for PDP, without linking it to the post made, I think is being more less deserving, honestly speaking. And outside that, and when he said that the man, even if he made a post in relation that victory is sure for APC, that he has right to make such statement, because after all, he was a male lecturer. If he can make such statement, it means that he's not qualified to be an INEC chairman. If you go by the provisions of the Constitution provides that for INEC chairman to be appointed, he must be somebody who is not in partisan politics, who is seen to have a good character, good conduct, and from every inclination maintains political neutrality. You can paraphrase it. Yes, he has the right to say victory is sure if the post he's replying to has to do with APC victory. But that also disqualifies him to be appointed as an INEC chairman, because the Constitution says the person must not be a member of a political party. Yes, we cannot ascertain whether he's a member of APC or not. And for the fact that he has aligned his thought, that impartiality or neutrality as emphasized in the Constitution is no more there. And that disqualifies him as an INEC chairman. Maybe Akpabio did not go in that direction. He did not tell us the constitutional provisions for one to be appointed an INEC chairman. He didn't go there. But he ended up saying that even if he had done that, he was just a male lecturer. And that also, he did not also include that disqualifies him from being appointed as an INEC chairman, because what we are here to do is to speak the truth. Outside that, of course, he did say something about to be, for me, it's a political statement. There's no argument about that. If somebody who had 6 million decide to move into another party or shop for political party instead of working in that very party, I also listened to me where he said that they keep accusing him of jumping from one political party to the other, that they will set a fire, and they are shocked that he escapes, that they would prefer that the fire burn him inside the house, that APC is responsible for some of these things, that the Supreme Court gave judgment on labor leadership crisis far back, I think after 7 months, when he left the Labour Party, INEC recognized the Supreme Court judgment. I think he made a very statement in one of the interviews he granted. He said that after 7 months, that such was done in April last year. That was when Supreme Court gave judgment on labor leadership crisis. Then INEC recognized such in January. That was after he had left Labour Party. But in all of the, just like I said yesterday, these things are politics. And I also listened to Dino Melai, where in that convention of ADC, he was the MC of the convention with a staggering trouser. The trouser he was putting on yesterday, I don't know whether to refer to it as a bongo trouser. That trouser was...
It's a vanguardist pants.
Okay, vanguardist pants.
Yes.
Vanguardist, that is new of his own type. But for me, whatever you like, call it Franklin, that thing is bongo. That is the kind of trouser you see in the 60s during the bongo parade. But that's by the way. That was the MC yesterday, Dinomelai. But he said quite a lot of things yesterday in a way to demarcate APC. And one of the things he said that Buhari borrowed about 87 trillion in 8 years, and at the same time Tinubu borrowed about 150 trillion or 158 trillion in 3 years. The truth remains that his assertion is not supported by facts on ground, because he claimed that Tinubu borrowed 158 trillion naira in 3 years. It's totally false, because available data suggests that debt has increased significantly, but not to that 150 trillion. We must also know very well that these people, they are doing their business. These two parties, they are doing their business, and they said quite a lot of things at the convention which were not true. They exaggerated those facts as a way to demarcate the APC. And also listen to him when he said the issue of fuel subsidy, that somebody was taking an oath of office. He announced subsidy is gone. They have not even gone to the office. He has not got any brief. He has not taken any. In fact, he has not even been taken into the office. He will sit as a president. He had just announced that, and that sent shock around every corner. Of course, I've supported that, saying that the way and manner the subsidy was removed was not well organized. Even when we know that all the political parties decided that they would remove subsidy.
But certainly, I would like to ask a question. But before then, of course, there was something you said which you wanted me to pull up.
Yes.
About the post that Senate President was talking about.
Yes.
If you trace to 2023, precisely on March 18, 2023, Dayo Israel, who is APC National Youth Leader, of course, is from Kogi State. So he was involved in an election, and after that, he went to his Twitter handle to post. He said, "Today, I rejoice not just for delivering my polling unit, but for winning 7 of the 10 polling units in my nearby Igbo dominated community where APC have never won. They always vote opposition, but this time I sat with the youth of the community and forged a partnership today." Then, under the post, a Twitter account with name Professor Joash Ojoamupeto now wrote and said, "Victory is sure."
Responding to somebody who had said that he delivered for APC and then he won some polling units for APC and replied, "Victory is sure." And you are saying that the victory is sure is not aligned to APC or PDP. Then if it's not aligned to APC or PDP, it's aligned to Tony Olisambeki.
Now, let me not get to my question, because ever since this very brouhaha about whether Mopito is on social media or not, whether he's been partisan or not, people have tried to pull up, different things, trying to link him to that. In fact, as we speak, there is even an account number that people are funding to ensure if they are going to use that to trace who owns the account. People have put out different things on the media, email address, phone number, claiming that they all belong to Amopito. In fact, some persons are even claiming that they have done their own verification and their account belongs to Amopito. The one that surprised me was Bashiru Ahmed, who asked Grok a question. I had to screenshot that. He asked Grok to confirm the original name that was bearing the account before it was changed to Joa, and Grok said nothing like that. So it's been Joash Amopito ever since it was created. I say have that very screenshot. But where I'm going to is, I was thinking that this thing should be a conversation between Nigerians and the INEC and Joash, because Amopito INEC chairman has personal secretary, whom I think should be the one, defending, and INEC also trying to explain. But we have seen the presidency, we have seen people who serve in the present government, we have seen APC members and loyalists who are defending Joash Amopito. And he's beginning to send a message as if they are in the know of what happened. So, Tony, in a case like this, are we expecting the presidency to get involved in the defense of Amopito? Are we expecting APC members to get involved in defense of INEC chairman?
Well, Nigerians are actually on different sides as far as this issue is concerned. There are those who want Amopito to leave as INEC chairman. They are members of APC. But why they want Amopiton out is not because of this issue of accounts. Why they want Amopiton out as INEC chairman is because of his earlier statement about Christian persecution. Yes, likes of Bashir Ahmed and his cohorts, they want Amopiton out. They are all supporters of APC, but their own is coming from the angle of religion. Where Amopiton, before he became INEC chairman, did say that Christians were being persecuted. I remember even the Muslim council, Munrik, has called for his sack, and different Muslim bodies, they have called for his sack.
So what are you saying in essence to
That's just one on its own. Then the second, there are those who want him out based on this issue of this Twitter account. And these people are members of the opposition who want him out. The truth is, I have also made my own investigation, and I can reliably say that that account belongs to George Amopiton. But the truth remains, the way and manner they have handled everything was not classical in every sense. You change the account to one Sunday vibe. What for? Because when people began to dig deep, the account was changed to one Sunday vibe 00. And when Grok was asked the same question, when we talk about Grok is AI owned by Elon Musk that is associated with X. In fact, in every tweet or everything you want to post on, and Grok is always behind you. You can ask Grok any question. And when that question was put, Grok emphatically states that that account belongs to, it has always been there until recently.
Now, okay, so let me read that to what
right.
Bashir Ahmed asked Grok. He said, for the sake of transparency.
Remember, Bashir Ahmed, before you go on,
yeah,
is in support that Amopiton should be sacked. He's a supporter of APC, but not on the ground of this issue, but on the ground of religion, because of what Amopiton had said earlier on, that Christians were being persecuted. Go on.
So he said, hi, Grok, for the sake of transparency, what's the original name of the X account with ID 15670862421641011120 was when it was created in September 2022, before it was later changed to George Amopiton in November 2025. And Grok responded saying, the X account ID with number I just called was created on September 6, 2022 under the username George Amopiton. There is no record of it being changed to George Amopiton in November 2025. Public reports on the account tracking confirmed that was its username from the creation until April 10, 2026, when it was updated to Sunday Vibe 00 and they locked amid controversy over 2023
And to think that it was even locked.
The profile was locked. And look at it. It had always been George Amopiton.
Such an unintelligent move to
That
cover
is
up.
just that. That's the point. Now he did not even play smart.
You see,
They did not just even play smart.
when some politicians get involved in searching defense, and to not be offensive, there's a song that Black Sheriff has. He will say, tell that man to shut up. Necessary. Like at that point, the most necessary thing for you to do is shut up. You don't have to defend everything and look like you are. Imagine, even if you tell a 5-year-old that, how would a 5-year-old believe you? And then you look at a mass of adult Nigerians and you want them to believe this crap.
But guess what? In the midst of this whole thing going on, there is a new X account of George Amopiton created April 2026.
A studio account?
This is
I want to divert attention with.
He has the picture of George Amopiton, and he's following only one person. He has 3,357 followers. And if you check this very account, you see everything that has been happening within INEC in the past couple of days, they've been posting that. So I don't actually understand what is happening. Whether somebody went to create this very account and try to use this one to confuse Nigerians,
farm engagement too,
or I don't actually know. But the thing is this: keep on saying this thing. These things are not rocket science. Just like we don't want to be sincere to ourselves. If not, it won't take us anything to engage forensic auditors who are going to do this. They will do their investigation, come up with the
come up with the outcome, and we get to know. My own is, if we want to be sincere, let's do this thing. As INEC is doing its own independent investigation, we have a team that's going to do investigation. We now come up with what the true state is. Whether he resigns or whether he is sacked becomes a different thing altogether. Because in my own case, whether he is sacked or whether he's resigned is immaterial, because even if he's sacked, the president will still appoint another person. If he resigns, he'll still appoint another person.
And it should
but
always
let's
be who
establish
dance to
what
his
the truth
tune.
is all about.
All right. Let's quickly say this.
Tony, we're totally out of time. Can we leave this drama? Because
I want to just
ADC
conclude.
had a convention yesterday,
I want to
and we really need to touch on that.
I want to conclude on this. It's going to just take a minute. Just like I have said that earlier on, why we are digging into this Amopiton issue was because Senate President made a remark about it. We've known this all this while, but because of the remark of the Senate President that he wasn't saying that victory is sure for APC or PDP, that people are calling for the neck of the umpire, that they are aware that they cannot do anything and they want to sacrifice the umpire. But the truth remains that this thing started the moment Amopiton de-recognized the ADC leadership led by Mark, and they started digging dicks, and the whole thing started, and then they went and upgrade the account to what they did the other time. But if you go by the provisions of the Constitution, especially the test schedule, part 1F, paragraph 14, subsection 2A, a member of the commission shall be non-partisan and a person of unquestionable integrity. If you go to the explanation part of the Constitution, it says that non-partisan simply means not belonging to any political party or not supporting, promoting, or showing bias towards any party or candidate. So you find out that when you say victory is sure, is it promoting? Is it supporting a political party? Is it a case of bias? That's what the Constitution says. That whoever that will be appointed an INEC chairman shall be non-partisan. And if you go to the part of the Constitution that describe or explain some of these terms, and it says that non-partisan means not belonging to any political party, not supporting, promoting, or showing bias towards any party or candidate. When the leadership of ADC was derecognized, some people felt that it was so solid, it was so bizarre, and they started tracing Amopiton to find out everything about him, and it got to this point. The truth is, he owes Nigerians apology. He owes Nigeria apology. That's Amopiton. But just like Franklin said, even if you sack him, the president will still appoint another person. When you have placed the issue of appointment of INEC boss on the hands of the president, not because it's Tinubu, it had always been like that. When I emphasize so much about building strong institutions, people say we have to change our mindset. Can you change mindset on this? The truth is, strong institution, these are some of the things that will save us. Because if you look at the convention, just like you wanted to say, Chisom, we listened to that yesterday and we have highlighted some of the things that happened there. The statements made by many of them, I listened to all of them. But if you look at them, many of them also have the same luggage as those in APC.
All right then. Like I said, ADC had a convention, Tony, despite the court order and despite INEC not recognizing the faction that had this convention. Yeah. What do you make of it quickly?
Well, I've just said it before now. Of course, we listened to some councils to different parties where Supreme Court has fixed April 22 for hearing, and he has given ADC a day to file his brief, giving APC about 3 days to file their own brief. And Supreme Court has said that they will give the whole thing accelerated hearing under Justice Garba Muhammad. We are going to see to that. And also the issue of PDP, their own leadership crisis. Supreme Court is the only court that will save Nigerian democracy, and whatever they say is final. Whatever Supreme Court say, as far as this issue is concerned, remains final. But as we saw yesterday, these people went on with their convention. I don't know. I cited someone saying that there was a court judgment barring them. I don't know.
See, that post came from one of the suspended persons, Norman of Abia State, and people have challenged them to produce the court document.
And I didn't see any.
And I haven't seen that, but I have seen some. The APC handle like the likes of Lere Olayinka. They are the ones who have.
He posted. I saw what Lere Olayinka posted, but the truth is that they procured it late. It was late because by the time it got the court order restraining ADC from having its convention, they already had a convention, and it must be properly served. For any order to be effective, it must be properly served. But that's by the way. And from what we saw yesterday, they suspended Bala Nafiu Gombe. Everything I said yesterday happened. Ratification I said yesterday happened. Some of the things I disclosed that this convention targeted, all of them happened. And I said expect suspension of Bala Gombe and his cohort. They all did that. They suspended him, and then so many things happened yesterday. But for me, APC is still on a kind of what do I call it? They're on a rope, and their rope is dangling. They don't even know where it will take them. Supreme Court will determine their fate, and whatever Supreme Court says becomes the issue. And the Supreme Court said, of course, they are going to accelerate the hearing because it is time bound for election which is approaching. Yes, but I pity APC, no doubt. But many of them,
this APC or ADC?
ADC, sorry, I pity ADC. Many of them, when they were talking yesterday, they sounded so. The way they sounded broken, shattered, wounded. I saw some grudges in their statements. Yes. I don't know. I listened to Amechi. Amechi said he's hungry. That if anybody say he's not hungry, that Amechi is hungry, that they should come and attack him for saying that. But I know very well Amechi cannot be hungry. If Amechi had said the Nigerians are hungry, or some Nigerians, because not every Nigerian is hungry. There are those who are hungry, and there are those who are not. But I know Amechi, Amechi is not hungry. But he said yesterday during their convention that he is hungry. He sounded broken, shattered, forlorn, abandoned. That's the way he sounded. I pity him, no doubt. And also Arebochola said there will never be coronation of Kabiyesi. That what they wanted to do is to coronate Kabiyesi come 2027. I looked at Arebochola, you once a work commissioner for Tinubu. Under him as a governor, you served him diligently. Tinubu sponsored the election as the governor for True State. Arebochola, what happened? What happened? Or were you skipped out? About overhead? Using likes of Wajabamila and so many other people.
Tony.
But the truth, remember, he sounded so pained. Arebochola. He sounded so pained yesterday.
Why wouldn't he be pained?
But it's politics.
Why would I mean? He's supposed to be a.
So if he had been given, he wouldn't be in the ADC.
But unfortunately, that is politics.
That
for
is
you,
politics.
Every man is out there
It's
for
a
his
game
own
of
interest. Absolutely.
It's a game, but people will not even understand that.
Everybody knows it's a game of interest.
Nobody yesterday, when I was listening to them, championed strengthening institution. I never listened. I listened to them. They were telling us if I were the president, I will not stop at the airport. I will not address the people at the airport. I will go into the village. When I was a governor, I would never sleep if there was a crime. These things are rubbish.
No.
See, the best thing I had thought they would say would be things they would do to strengthen our institutions, to limit the powers of the president. They didn't say that. So what it means that if they find themselves there tomorrow, they may give us a variant of what is going on now.
Let me just take 45 seconds out to say this.
Quickly.
ADC should pray that by the time Supreme Court hears their matter on April 22nd, that judgment is not going to be far, and when the judgment comes, it's not going to involve any kind of, maybe anything procedural or anything that is going to affect things they have done already. Because if that judgment comes and has any implication on the congresses they have had, likewise on the on the convention, that it requires them to begin afresh, I'm afraid they might be in a very, very tight rope that they might risk not being part of the 2027 general election.
All right, then let's take a break now. Attend to commercials. Once we come back, we open up the phone lines for you to join the conversation. Do stay. Don't forget to drop your comment on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, The Polity.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
The land is green.
For too long, realtors have walked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a Realtors Welfare Initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelin Chinenye Nana, Property Boss, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onitsha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803-276-0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
It's green.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opriche Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Opriche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opriche Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
The All Progressives Grand Alliance South-East Zone cordially invites you to the ABGA South-East Zonal Stakeholders Meeting. Date, Saturday, 18th April 2026. Venue, International Convention Center, ICC, Oka, Anambra State. Time, 10 a.m. Host, Reverend Augustine Ehiemere, National Vice Chairman, South-East Zone. Chief Host, Chief Barrister Sly Ezo Kinwa, National Chairman, ABGA. Special Guest of Honor, Professor Charles Chukuma Soludo, CFR, Executive Governor of Anambra State, and National Leader, ABGA. For more inquiries, please contact 0803-813-0450. Announcer, the Publicity Secretary, ABGA South-East Zonal Working Committee.
We, the families of late Nze Michael Ezenwaka Anyake of Umuobiekwe Umumako Okpoko Autonomous Community and late Chief Nedu Ezerioha Dominic of Umwezi Ihedike Umuisim Village Akpulu, both in Idato North Local Government Area of Imo State, sadly announced the death of a beloved wife, mother, aunt, daughter, sister, and grandmother Ezine Lucy Obumneme Ezenwaka Adadioramma aka Luxury Madam, who departed this life at the age of 64 years. Burial arrangement Thursday 16th April 2026, 7 a.m. Body departs Burmi Mortuary, Onitsha, for her hometown. 8 a.m. Lying in state at her husband's compound. 10 a.m. Requiem Mass at St. James Catholic Church, Akpolo. 12 noon. Interment at her husband's compound, followed immediately by funeral rites and condolences from in-laws, friends, and well-wishers. Sunday 19th April 2026, 9 a.m. Thanksgiving Mass at St. James Catholic Church, Akpolo. May her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. Signed, Bennett Ezenwaka, husband for the family.
Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okono Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694 are the numbers to call. You have a minute 30 seconds. Let's stick to that. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
And Mr. Frank, good morning to you, Anthony Sambek.
Good
My
morning.
name is Mario Tishuka, calling from Onitsha. Well, let me start by the statement of Abadu. Well, I don't, honestly, whenever a man talks, I don't see somebody talking. Because you never make sense of anything that he's telling you. I don't know. Since I've been monitoring whatever the man is saying, he's so childish and that. I don't know. That man becoming our Senate president is questionable.
Hello?
Making a statement that is not even healthy. Somehow, well, from what he says, my brother, there is no doubt. Whether he said victory is sure or not, the thing is that there is doubt already. We are Joash Omoputa, aka Oluomo, is. He is no longer healthy to conduct that election. Whether he gives us good results, people must doubt. So there is no need. If we are in a same country, that man by now, he himself will resign honorable and stop bringing argument here and there. To me, he is not healthy. He must resign. Simple as that. And we are under what he said, that Mr. President will win an election. If Mr. President win an election, there will be this security will stop. They should play for him. Where Mr. President said, if I win an election, I will make sure that there is steady power supply. And if there is not,
Okay, thank you, Marike. I wasn't aware that Peter is now called MC Luomo. Is that something I'm missing?
It's just like I said, most of the things Abio said yesterday were not true. I thought when he said that insecurity is because of this, that's not true.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, the voice of Adrian Frank. I'm calling from Onitsha.
Let's hear you, Frank.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. What I want to talk about our this is just about to say. I'm not putting my words. For me, I think what we need in this country is, for me, is total orientation. We need total orientation. You understand? From all these people that we elect, because quite sure I know that if our institution is not working, that it will affect it. But it's not only institution, because if we have a very good institution, and I think the people that are going to man that institution is still human beings that are still going to be in that institution. So let me tell you let me tell us one thing. Because, let me say, for example, if we can pick all these are politicians or all these our things, we take them to US that have a very good institution, they will still fail because they don't have good attitude, good orientation. Because what we just even with the way things are going now, if we have people who have good orientation or good moral upbringing or good this thing, they will still work with this thing because it's only if, for example, somebody employ you to do the wrong thing and this thing is orientation is that you don't belong to that or you cannot do that. There's no how you can work for the person, but already they have the kind of mentality that everything can go. You understand? So because of that mentality, whatever, in fact, even if we want, take us to the United States with this kind of mentality, we still stay there. So even with institution without good mentality or without good mentality, we are still going to fail. You understand? So what we need in this country is total orientation and good this thing. Without that, my brother, we are not going to go anywhere. You understand? Thank you very much.
All right, then let's stick to 1 minute 30 seconds. You're almost at 2 minutes. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Hello there.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning.
My chief speaker, Tony Rizambeki, good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Yes, the voice of Honorable Mayor Oku JP Okulolo Chetumezeneke Auda Node. This morning, I want to make it categorically clear that Omopitan should handle this election automatically. Tinubu will win this election because if you see the way things are going, even not recognizing ABC leadership, even on what court say, you can see that there is you read the handwriting on the wall. So what I want to say in NS, the best thing, although we know that APC government has succeeded in suppressing other political parties, and they have put mercenaries online in order to see that this election, that they won it. But what I'm trying to say, our people used to say that because whether the election is being leaked or not leaked, if Omapitan do this election, I want to tell you that whether leaked or not leaked, many people will not believe that the election went well. So the best thing is for us to stand firm and come out and know the person that we want to vote and vote that person and see that our vote is counted and change this governance. Hungry everywhere. Nothing is going. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. You can drop your comment on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. Don't forget to like, share, and follow the page. Franklin, while we are taking care of the calls, can we start looking at Facebook right after this? Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Franklin. The voice of Julian is coming from Mumbo. I had everything to say this morning. This is that Nigeria is becoming a failed state, and anybody that has intentions in Nigeria, they will fight everything to make sure the person loses part in the face of the public. Why am I saying that? In the case of people, they see what they are doing to make sure that he didn't get the certificate of ABC, everything possible. And look at what is happening in Nigeria, where generals are being killed by terrorists, common ordinary terrorists who are financing these people, who are giving this information. Where are these people coming from? Which borders? Who are those manning those borders? Who are in charge of those borders? Is it in the sea? Who are those navies manning those seas, manning those our waters? Is it in the air? Who are those manning our airspace? You know, Nigeria is becoming a free state. These people are just making monkey of this nation. Nigeria is blessed. The politicians are just after politics and after their own safety. See what someone like Obi is saying, a host made president. You know, at what is happening today because of next year's election. You know, no human face, no human sympathy, nothing to tackle it. I don't know what is going on. In the same country, this our army generals could have given a marching order. Since let them beat all our people. Let them go straight to those accounts. Look at what Soludo did in Alabama State. He destroyed the camps of every criminal in this Alabama State. You know, this could have happened in Nigeria. The policy is very simple, better, you know, but if our president and our general to make sure that these terrorists are working wiped out, you see that they will go straight to their mouth, to get their enclave, and destroy the terrorists. Look at this boy that they kidnapped the voice day. They kidnapped last week. That evil boy. Look at what they are doing to him. You know, making video of it openly. Let the world see. Their faces are not being covered. I don't think that boy will survive that thing. You know, sir, this the mess this are putting us into.
Okay.
In fact, as well best Nigeria.
Let's head over to Facebook.
So on our Facebook page we have Honorable Jimmy Katekenef from Federal Polytechnic. Oko, yes. Okay, sorry. That's from Okboko Federal Constituency. Okay, so he says if Nigeria is a working country, INEC chairman should have resigned by now, and the reps chambers should by now be passing a vote of no confidence on Akpabio for defending an open fact against democracy. Michael Child says, Tony, please tell us about Tinubu's borrowing so far, but I have this. Total debt stock, Nigeria's total public debt reached 144.7 trillion naira by December 31, 2024, rising from 87.38 trillion naira inherited in June 2023. He says, but then I still want to know more about it, okay? Rochrato Bia Wike to Christopher from Abatan Sube, he says, it's sickening listening to Babio. He's just mocking Nigerians and knows that nothing will happen as they are not ready for free and fair elections. Instead of taking blame for insecurity, he was busy shifting attention to another area. Only APC members are defending INEC chairman, which shows that they belong to the same team. Anons Amy says now that ADC has done their convention amid some court cases, including the one at the Supreme Court, which is to be heard later this month, what then becomes the fate of those they suspended should it be in the favor of the David Marks leadership? Okay, so thank you for that very one. Then he's saying that Tony is being pessimistic about the opposition. What did he say again? That my father used koboko to wipe me doesn't mean I will use same on my kids. There must be a certain point and other reforms will be enforced. Okay, Master BJP is following us from Onitsha. He says stomach infrastructure should not be ADC mindset. Dr. Muslimo Lebra from Owerri says Nigerians are perpetually groaning, embarrassingly attract, wandering and gallivanting aimlessly without proper nurturing and guidance. Education and the financial institutions have failed. Governance is in a mess. Corruption has soared to high heavens. Shall we continue to lament in self-pity? Gregory Thaddeus says he's commenting from Asaba. He says Mr. Babio misfired by thinking that P2B got over 6 million votes because of Labour Party. Let ADC give Obi the presidential ticket and see if Obi won't have over 13 million votes in 2027. And Oluchi Chima is posting from, okay, she didn't add the location, but she says, welcome to Nigeria where human lives have no value. That's why security agencies will kill Nigerians in the name of fighting insecurity and nothing will happen. Don't forget, this is not the very first time the Nigerian Air Force were bombing villages in this country and nothing happened. Anthony Mera watching from Zamfara, thank you for being there. Christian Onyedikwa writing from India, who says victory is sure. Why not? Our judiciary is compromised, so INEC chairman is saying what he knows. We are only waiting for the result in 2027. And Dandola says his name is Daniel Obona from Awadobos. He says anybody that hates anything that has to do with P2B is indeed an enemy of good reputation and good governance. Florence Masajoa says Senate President talk is a case of Onyo Daraya Lachara. Okay, Onyo Daraya Mire or Onyo Daraya Chara Yaracha. May God keep each and every one of us hearing what he said alive to 2020. Okay, I should have done better too. Okay, I should have rearranged this very thing. But all the same, thank you for your post. Christian Omonakwe says the strength of Atiku will be Pankwaso in the ADC coalition against Tinubu will turn into weakness.
Thank you.
When Tinubu buries all of them in the ADC coalition, even before the 2027 election. And then the Collins Uzomwope, Okoye, Angolika, Florence. Thank you all for following the program.
Thank you for your calls, your contribution. Well, Tony, your final shots in a second.
Of course, somebody was actually saying one thing, that we need a change of orientation, a change of whatever you call it. My brother, most of the countries in the world did not have a change of orientation. Institutions will force you to be of good orientation. Institution itself. Have you ever wondered why Nigerians, when they go outside the country, our leaders, they will obey the law, obey traffic law, obey everything. But when they come here, they become lawless. Did they change their orientation by being in UK? They did not change orientation. The institutions there forced them to show good orientation, to comply with what is obtainable there. No country becomes what it is by the citizens at a point. Agree, let us, all of us, change orientation, perfect ourselves, become moralists. No country, I can cite many of them. The institutions, they built strong institutions first, and that strong institution forced the orientation you are now talking about. Institution will force it. And somebody was telling me about the debt. Let me quickly say this thing. Nigeria, you said it. In fact, you've given the figure yourself. You said it, our last total debt sum is about 144 under Tinubu. And then Buhari left 187 trillion. Just do the minus. 144 trillion as it is now. minus 87 as it were under Tinubu. You have about 50-something trillion. That's what Tinubu has borrowed, not 150 as Dino Menai said.
All right then, Franklin, your final shots.
Nigerians have a whole lot to do. At this time, I don't think we are doing enough to pressurize judiciary to stand up and begin to at least respect us to some extent. Yes, we know that somebody can say that their hands are tied, but I tell you that that's the way we are going to pressure them. They will know that we are still alive and our eyes are still open. But the fact that we always think about the president, we don't think about legislature and judiciary to mount pressure on them for them to begin to think that
absolutely.
But once we are just primed on the president, these guys keep on having a field day.
Right then, the Polity is going to make a return tomorrow 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, do your bit as a Nigerian that desires change to get the Nigeria that you desire. I am Chisom Chinedu. See you tomorrow or right before then at 12:25 on the Cherry Box.
Before the bridges came, before the city stretched its arms to the sky, there was a voice carried by the great Niger, whispered in the winds that danced through the Obunike caves. A voice that told the stories of kings, traders, warriors, and dreamers. That voice still speaks. That voice is us. We are Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Gee ntị n'ọgwa dị oke mkpa nke a bụ iji wee gwa ọha na eze ọzọ banyere ahịa ọgbara ọhụrụ